This is Erin Haskell, Dr. Alexander Haskell, and we're back talking about detoxification and purification. Our topic today is really about mindfulness and how emotions are actually causes toxins in our body. And I'm not sure if most people realize this. It's a fascinating topic around detoxification and how mindfulness releases all these negative things. And I just want to say before, you talk about mindfulness, because you're really a master. He's written a lot of things on mindfulness, Dr. Alexander Haskell. But I just think it's so amazing that I eat some junk food per se, and I'm sure on a chemical level, it could be really bad for me. But instantaneously, if I have emotions or upsets, how it just can just be horrific on the body. So what do you have to say about all this mindfulness stuff?
Yeah, it's amazing to me that, both, we can be triggered to have hatred almost instantaneously. Our chemistry, in a fraction of a second, begins to shift. It's really remarkable. But also, the emotion of love can also instantly become some kind of molecules that float through our bloodstream and through our brain, and we feel great. So yeah, being mindful is just watching. For me, it means just being observant and watchful about what is triggering us, and this could be in the moment. It could be somehow a memory is triggered, some associative thinking or a memory from 10, 20 years ago can trigger this whole shift in our biochemistry.
It's a fascinating topic, the topic of how we get toxic, how it actually plays into us gaining weight and feeling tired, and how there's toxins. We have toxins in our environment and our food, everything, but possibly the most toxic thing is our emotions. And after some of the work, you realize we're the master of our own emotions. We have to we put a negative or a positive attachment meaning to anything, a memory or a present, a circumstance, whatever. We instantaneously feel the effects chemically, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Fascinating. So tell us more about mindfulness and how do you deal with that with clients? How do you get them trained, and do you have conversations around that, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, it's, for both of us and for everybody out there, little things trigger us that we just, sort of take for granted. This is the correct reaction if we're cut off in traffic. We go through that every single day living in cities that, we can see this person coming on the side and they're in a rush, and, we're following the speed limits and they cut right in front of us, and it triggers, our adrenals, and, there's some part of us which gets upset. And, it just happens to us hundreds of times per day. And, I think the way out of this, in part, the way out of having these chemicals bathing our tissues and cells, which causes, sometimes even inflammation or premature aging of cells, these, let's call them sort of anger, or I don't know if the word is correct, negative emotions, or the emotions have a negative impact upon our health. How to get out of that? It's great to prevent it, watching this happening in front of us and knowing it's probably going to trigger us, and just having that awareness that we're probably going to get triggered is a way to kind of calm us down even before it happens, or to be prepared for it. But once it happens, how to come out, how to get back into kind of a zone of harmony, so to speak. And it is really through mindfulness of just being curious about, wow, this happened to me, and just being neutral in some degree of maybe empathy or even neutrality in how our body is reacting in different situations tends to turn the volume down on those emotions, and our body gets right back into sort of a more harmonious sync much more rapidly. So how I counsel people in sessions is going through, okay, what are some of the emotions you're having around your illness, and maybe backtracking a little bit into the past to see how they're being triggered in the present lives, and just bringing more of an awareness, not so much a depth of investigation, but just teaching them how to be more mindful and more present in the moment, in the here and now.
Yeah, as one of the laws says, something to the essence of, what we resist persists. So often we just don't want to feel those upsets, and sometimes that's the way to the other side is through just simply feeling whatever's there, becoming mindful of it. But, if you can't get to neutrality, if anything, we just do it out of vanity. I don't want to get upset when someone cuts me off on the street just because I don't want to age more than I have to. So, we can just get to, let's get down to the tax. Some people are here for actual, weight loss, vitality. We all want, to feel amazing, be completely in our zen out space, but, also just, materialistically in this physical world, let's face it, you look better, you feel better, all the above when you're not toxic in all areas of your life. So what else? Let's see. So what do you feel chemically happens for somebody when they are upset or anger? I would imagine it's all pretty much the same chemicals that would get released, whether you're, adrenaline probably more for anger, but majority of the sadness or fear, any of those things, I would imagine it's the same hormones, or how does that work on a chemistry level?
Yeah. So, I often use the container or the bowl as an example. So let's say that, fortunately, we've slept through the night and not a lot of, anxiety, and we wake up in the morning and let's say our bowl of energy is full. And if we can sort of maintain this equilibrium and we're creative and we have, time to deal with our occupations and our families and whatever, and the bowl energy level starts, slowly declining through the day, and hopefully have some reserves at the end of the day. But sometimes these emotions, anger, irritability, whatever, they will drain that bowl much more rapidly. So when we get on that reserve end of the bowl for the day, the energy bowl for the day, then other hormones have to start kicking in to kind of get us through the rest of maybe a stressful day. And that's primarily involved with the adrenals producing, the hormones cortisol and adrenaline, and those two hormones are what trigger other glands or the other endocrine glands to produce their hormones, such as the pancreas secreting something that helps to liberate fat from tissues to become glucose. It's a little involved, but I think people know when they're functioning on adrenaline, which is that sense of being tired and wired at the same time, just getting sort of like having like 3 or 4 cups of coffee. You feel that wiredness about it, and it really it does affect every cell. I would say especially the brain, having some negative effects upon brain chemistry.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, emotions, if we talk about detoxifying our, thinking, our believing, our even, of course, dysfunctional relationships, all of that. So this is one out of, many topics of specific detoxification. And so what does that look like? We don't necessarily, you can't get rid of a family member, nor do we want to, get rid of people in our lives. But, where are those healthy boundaries within yourself that you can, if you're committed to serenity or committed to not having a toxic life, how are you able to set those boundaries? And that's a personal journey. Each person's different. So, I think the chemistry is fascinating to find out about that. And when you really get clear on that you're committed to health and vitality and happiness, you have to address the toxin of emotions. It's a real deal.
I think probably a lot of people that are wanting to go through this purification program are, probably doing this for various reasons, and part of it may just be to recover their health, and part of it may also be just to feel more energy. But I think probably in general, just a very general statement, and that is probably most of the people are pretty sensitive, pretty aware, self-aware, and, are kind of on a path, a journey. And I think that we may have something in common, and that is the sense of, wanting to serve or wanting to be selfless and wanting to take care of other people or our families, or we're involved with things which require us to give a lot of ourselves. And I think part of the purification program is respecting our own needs, which is difficult for some of us, and that means not giving ourselves 100% to situations, but reserving some of the energy for our own selves so that we can be more creative, so that we can be able to give in a healthier way rather than us feeling drained by the end of the day. It may sound a little bit selfish to not give 100% of ourselves, but I think there's something about health and why people develop illnesses because they're always working on reserves and wanting to give more and more to others. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I think there's all different types, right? And I think that it's, as many human beings, there's different levels of what is draining and what's fulfilling their cup and what is, where for some it's for giving service. They would, may get even more energy if they serve more. Maybe they're a little too selfish to begin with. For people that maybe aren't selfish enough and are always giving to others, maybe it's to, rearrange that to where they're giving and making sure they're taking care of themselves or as many other things. Some people just, it's, all kinds of, no matter what it is, the stress and the level toxifying the body. I'm imagining that there's pH balances that go into it. There's hormonal things, all of it. But the bottom line, at the end of the day, it comes down to that we're spiritual beings and that we are the cause of our emotions. We can't put it out there in the world that anything's causing anything. It's how we react to it, how we respond to it, we can expand our consciousness and do our work to not have as much reaction and be able to have more compassion and love more. But maybe there's many things maybe we're not to stay in a peaceful place around it. If we're not able to do that, then we have to take responsibility around having serenity within our life and whatever boundaries that is. And believe me, it's been a long time learning how to set boundaries that are healthy for myself and yet not just shutting people out of my life, And so it's a journey for each individual. It's different, but I think it's a very important topic, a beautiful topic. Probably, I would say it's in the top of the list of all the different things that toxify you, in my personal experience.
Yeah. And one other, you mentioned just now that sort of pH, acid-alkaline balance. You'll notice that when we get stressed, we become tight, especially the diaphragm. Our breathing becomes kind of very restricted and very shallow. And what that means is that we're not allowing carbon dioxide, which is really a toxic waste of the body. We're not allowing that carbon dioxide to leave and bring in fresh oxygen. What happens with that is carbon dioxide is very acid. So our pH shifts towards acidity. The body becomes acid when it becomes stressed. So one thing that I try to teach other people is how to relax the muscles, becoming more intuitive, more aware of our body, where's the tension, learning how to have a more relaxed posture, and from that relaxation, the breathing will begin to shift, and the pH becomes back into balance again.
I'm taking deep breaths right now. Sure, you can eat all these greens, you do all this stuff, and that's great. Of course, we need to do all that. But I'm thinking about just the mindfulness and how much it could play into your health every day, every moment. You want your body to be at peace and start, flowing instead of forcing, and just the breath work, meditation, taking responsibility around your emotions and making sure that you're, detoxifying those emotions and relationships. So it's a really great topic. Thank you so much. Anything before off?
No, I don't think so. It was a good conversation.
Great conversation. I really love that one. So I'll talk to you soon.